Hello again, everyone. I'm just about to start sharing workshop 2 with you guys this week, which is how to songwrite as a professional. So for your peace of mind, again, everything that I'm about to share with you in this session here will be available within this Word document that I'm now going through. So all of the web links here, and you'll see I'm going to start going through all of the teaching points that are listed for you nice and easily at the end, along with some examples of songwriting. And how to apply it for stuff that you're interested in. So let's start off with this screen here. One of the most important things to try and sort of understand is there any techniques typically to write in what we might call a hit song? So according to Nordorf Robbins, who have an institute that help people around songwriting with their own songwriting academy, they put together this article and these 7 points, which I think are really helpful for you guys if you're interested in learning how to write a hit standard song. Let me just define this quickly. So a lot of people songwrite, and there's no right or wrong with your songwriting technique, but today's seminar is more helping you guys to understand how to study hits of the past, understand what made them hits and why people gravitated to the song, as well as how to use techniques that were within those hit songs to be able to create your own. Some of the references that I'm going to show you today are big pop singles, which might not be your cup of tea, but the main reason we're looking at them is there's themes and ideas within them that we want to take and then be able to put that back into your preferred taste of music, whatever that is. There's also a theory that we're going to look at today, which is writing one for yourself versus one for the industry. And I'll show you some good examples of people who've been able to do that over the years. So not taking up too much time and getting straight into it. Probably the most important factor to take in when trying to write a hit is the importance of the chorus, or what the Americans would call a hook. So point number 1 here we have is hooks make hits. Just reading it out so that everyone can understand. Hooks are essential in creating what they call a killer song or a smash hit. A hook is a really catchy melody, lyric, or riff. In this case here, examples of lyrics are very simple stuff. You could also be using ad-libs. So again, think about that. Tion Wayne, when he did London recently, and his use of has become a very popular ad-lib that people almost want to kind of just wait for that part of the song. So we're going to look at all these little tricks and techniques that people do either on purpose or by mistake, and how to try and make them more habits for you when you sit down to write a song. Okay, if you want to know what a riff is, that's more applicable to like bands with guitars, and typically a riff is like a certain sort of progression of a guitar sound, so it might be a changing of a few chords or a few notes played. But a riff is more relevant to producers and specifically rock bands particularly. But to make a hook catchy, as they say, it needs quite a lot of repetition within the song as well. So typically the structure for a pop song will have up to 4 choruses, if not more. The more you repeat the chorus, the more the listener remembers what was being said, and it gives them that catchy factor that they can't get that out of their head because they've listened to it repeated so many times. For anyone that's attended my sessions previously, a lot of you would have heard me going on about with that example that makes you remember the words on about. And this is what we're trying to do when we write a chorus. So remember, a hook is not just a one-off moment in the song. If you repeat it enough, it will stick in the brain of the listener forever. This is what we're trying to do when we sit down and write songs with structure. Okay. The second most important point to take on points that I have raised with people before. So again, if you've attended my sessions and this is kind of a little bit of a repeat stuff for you again, remember, if you don't write a song that includes other people within your song, they won't be able to relate to it in the same way. So as it says here, people ignore songs when the songs ignore the people. I'll make this really simple now for you, so that even though it's important to write something that has a meaning to you, you need to try and make your lyrics easy and able to relate for other people who are going to hear it too. How amazing would it be that a song that resonates with you, the writer, but also have the listeners say, how did you know I was feeling like that? So they advise you here to swallow your pride, play your song to people and ask them if they get it too when you're also writing it. Simple things that you can pick up on, and I've got some really helpful resources in some of the tabs a little bit later, is the type of themes that lots of people can relate to, as well as the way it was written. One of the most important things with a songwriter is to make sure that your song is believable. I'll use myself as the case study here. So I shared with nearly everyone that I was unfortunately nearly had my life taken from me on my doorstep when I was about 25. I'm almost 40 now. And as a byproduct of that, I've been through quite extreme feelings and emotions, because, you know, when someone tries to snatch your life, that's not going to leave you in a good place typically, but it's a gift now when I come to songwriting. So a lot of the hardships I've suffered in my life, I try and tap into when I sit down to work with music. You know, all the stuff that would normally make us have bad days and feel sad and low, these are all the types of things we want to try and evoke in others who might be going through similar experiences, and we're going to use music as the way to do that. So as it says for point number 3 here, don't ever try and fake your feelings when you write. You know, maybe try and go to some of the darkest days that you've had and recreate some of those moments and tap into those feelings and emotions. And the more that you can do that, the more you're going to hook your listener in. You know, I'll bring up some examples in a bit where people have gone really extreme. It's been an absolute hit, not necessarily a party track, but lots of people have gravitated to the song because they share the same feeling or the same experience. We're going to teach you throughout this session how to try and tap into these type of ideas, ways of thinking, and ways to write it down as a songwriter too. So as it says here, write about something that you've actually experienced or an emotion you've actually really felt or are feeling right now. That way the song will have so much more believable to the listener. Really important. Again, don't try and fake situations that might not be real to yourself. You know, try and take some of the stuff that's happened to you in your life, and it could be good or bad, and we need to get that down and make other people feel the same way. The next part is hit songs are always structured. Okay, you can't get away with just writing a never-ending freestyle and the whole world goes mad for it and wants to listen to every bar. You'll find, particularly with a female audience, they will always prefer a chorus because they like simple, easy to digest music that they can sing along to, kind of feel they're a part of the journey with that person. It's not saying that you can't put really cool bars down and have stuff without choruses, but it's harder to make that song catchy if it doesn't have a chorus. So understanding structure and how to write with a chorus. So typically for a song, we would write something like an 8-bar chorus. This can be as simple as one line that you repeat 8 times. That will definitely make it catchy, and I'll show you some examples of that going on in a minute. All the way through to writing 8 different bars, but you'll probably find if you write a full 8-bar chorus, most people won't find your song quite so catchy. Okay, so we're going to look at all these different types of structures. Typically, what I advise to most people is you only need to write 40 lines, which should be 40 bars. And from that, you choose your best 2 bars, try and repeat those 4 times, making your chorus super catchy. And now you've also got a remaining 38 bars to be able to choose 2 16 bars, which should only make 32 bars, still giving you best part of 6 bars that you may or may not need to use. And now you've got a full song structured in a way that should be catchy with lots of different variations around your theme. And we're going to look at how to come up with themes and stuff in a minute as well. Okay, so it says there are certain structures that work in songwriting to keep the listener engaged. If a song takes too many twists and turns and has too many different sections, it becomes hard to follow, and a percentage of your audience will lose their way and switch off. So a simple way to fix this is just keep it simple, and your listeners will always stay with you. Okay, try and think of it like you're spoon feeding a baby sat in a high chair. You know, they can only take small, simple little spoons of food. It's the same when you do the chorus. Don't make it too complicated, too lyrical, too fast with the flow. The simpler it is, the easier it will be on the listener's ear, the more it will stick in their head, the more it becomes catchy. Okay? Probably the best way to measure if a song actually is catchy in the first place is, does it make you want to pull the song up? Okay? Quite a lot of people, when they're doing stuff these days, you know, they'll be listening to their favorite song and they can only get about 30 seconds into it and they've already pulled the track up. Okay, the reason that I'm highlighting all of this stuff to you guys here now, okay, is to be able to make sure that when you're listening to your song and writing it for maybe a hit in the first place, you've got certain lyrics in there or certain elements suggested within the lyrics that make people want to stop and start the record again. Okay, the main reason I'm also pointing this out is if any of you have listened to last week's lessons and stuff around revenue and how to generate it within music on streaming platforms, every time someone pulls up a record and plays it again, that's another stream for you. So, you know, let's say we've got 1 million listeners, but every one of them has replayed the song twice. You've now got 3 million streams instead of 1. So if you're thinking about these type of things when you're writing a song, it's another way to help generate more income for yourself, okay? So going into this, they've used very old song references here. So Bohemian Rhapsody is a song that was written by Queen, very popular in the 80s and 90s. Okay, another one they're referencing to here is something called Stairway to Heaven. This was written by a guitarist whose son fell out of a hotel room while he was on tour and died. And he then wrote the song Stairway to Heaven, trying to get back to his son, who he believed was in heaven at the time. Another one that everyone knows very well from over the years, which is much more of a pop sounding song, is American Pie. All of these are classic songs that can last up to 8 minutes. But as it says here, don't underestimate the power of a song that lasts as little as 2 to 3 minutes, which we already know 3 minutes is our ideal song time, which will make radio play here, especially in the UK. Okay, chances are short, punchy, well-crafted song will make your listeners hit the replay button. Well, if we're trying to get that replay factor, a 3-minute song is perfect, because by the time they would have listened to it in the songs they were referencing above, that can be up to 8 minutes, we can have nearly done 2.5 of our songs in the same time and paid ourselves 2.5 times as well. Okay. The way that you get 2 shots for them to fall in love with your song, okay, is to write this simple, catchy factor. So lots of words are going to be very important in the process when we write too, because the more we can make people feel something, the more chance we have of making them replay the song, as well as remembering it because it was catchy and meant something to them. So the question 6 asks us, what makes a song catchy? Well, the first thing that people hear in a song is the melody typically. This is aimed more advice at producers here, so work hard on creating unique melodies, or if you're a singer, learning on having maybe an interesting ad-lib at the beginning. But you'll see, as a songwriter, you can also go and sample really interesting things that have happened on TV, film, radio, adverts, TV series, Netflix, all these different places, and put them in, which might start to draw your audience into in the same way. You can also use ad-libs very intelligently. So again, I use T on Wayne if you're an at the beginning. Lots of people hear that, and that's their little reminder that this is one of their favorite songs, and now they want to get ready for that little 3-minute journey that they're going to go on. And they may pull the song up 2 or 3 times, which, as we know, that's going to pay the artist even more, just for gassing them in that way in the first place. Okay, so you'll see here, use plenty of repetition to make your songs even more catchy. It's starting to become a theme here now, that the more you stay stuff and simpler, and I'm going to show you some examples in a minute from DJ Khaled, who is the master of writing 1-bar choruses for the artists that he works with. Okay, this is what makes songs super duper catchy. Okay, so if you can write just a 1-bar chorus and repeat it 8 times, I guarantee that song will be stuck in your listener's head a lot more than anyone else writing some of the best lyrics on the planet, but not as simple as that. Okay, the last thing that we're trying to do, which we've already discussed a little bit before, is trying to evoke a strong emotion. So as they say here, we believe one of the most important goals of songwriting is to evoke a strong emotion in the listener. This could mean the song makes someone feel joyful, ecstatic, tearful, strong and empowered, or makes them want to dance around the room. All of these are far more preferable for someone describing your song as nice. Okay, how do you do this is down to you, but always remember, if your song doesn't evoke a powerful emotion in you when you write it, it's not going to move anyone else when they hear it. So again, you may need to get out of your comfort zone when you sit down and try and go to do songwriting. You can't just write around the normal things that you're hearing in everyone else's songs. We need something that's individual, stands out, and everyone's like, wow, have you heard this? They're talking about, okay?